it's a G.I. Joe thing.
Warning. From the hilt cautions that mature content may ensue during this video that includes foul language, possible adult situations, violent implications, and perhaps a little something something. Wink wink. Nudge nudge. A little racy even. Keep in mind that it's all in good fun. Now that we've gotten all prim and proper, please enjoy the show.
Yo, Joe, I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe gamer. Tonight I'm bringing you Joe Takes Classics 6. Two of these were supposed to be in the last Joe Takes Classics, but I messed up and played Duke an extra time. So you got an extra Duke in the last episode. However, it made it so things work out better that I can start playing a whole month of Joe Takes in one. I used to do one of these a week. So over the course of the next few Joe Takes Classics, I've got just a whole month's full of 4 Joe Takes Classics for the most part. So this time I've got Ladies Month, which was last October. So you're going to get a dose of CoverGirl. You're going to get a dose of Lady Jaye, a little bit of Akiko from Snake Eyes movie. And then we're going to wrap it up with Cobra Convergence, and we're going to have Zarana. So we should have some fun with that. So I will mostly be in the chat with you guys, and we'll be watching these classic Joe Takes. Hello, Ari. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. We got Kenneth Bird in the chat. Thank you for joining me. And my bro, Sith. How you doing, man? I will be on Spine Takes Live this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So check it out for that. And then tomorrow night is our 50th episode of Fridays from the Hilt. But tonight we're doing G.I. Joe Takes Classics. And I'm going to start you off. Instead of reading a file card, I have some file cards already made up for 2 of these characters. Actually, 3 out of the 4. I don't have one for Akiko because they never made a file card for Akiko. So that's kind of sad, but that's just how it is. But I've got a file card for CoverGirl and Lady Jaye for you here. And I will play Zarana's at the end with an all-new music video that I've got for you that's a little different. It's actually it's a G.I. Joe mission in song form. So I hope you enjoy that. So let's kick it off here and see. Superior Cyber Godzilla, hello, sir. It's good to see you. But we're going to kick this off with the file cards for CoverGirl and Lady Jaye, and then I'll just jump right into the Joe Takes Classics and play CoverGirl, Lady Jaye, Akiko, and then Zarana, and then I'll come back and play Zarana's file card, and we'll end it with that new video for you. So here is codename CoverGirl, and then codename Lady Jaye.
Yo, Kim. Codename CoverGirl. Special Weapons Officer. Intelligence Agent. File name. Courtney Krieger. Grade. E6 Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army.
Birthplace.
Peoria, Illinois. Primary specialty. Armor, airway, feed driver. Armored fighting vehicles. Secondary specialty, AFE mechanics. Qualified experts. Long rocket. Dragon 18 missile. M16 and 1911 made one auto pistol. Combat shotgun graduated. Sent it over school at Fort Knox and related tech schools. Proficient in diesel mechanics, gas turbine technology. Fort Huachuca, home to the U.S. Army Intelligence Center of Excellence. The U.S. Army Network Enterprise Technology Command and NICOM 9th Army Signal Command. Top of class. Wolverine AFB. Combat gear. Wolverine 12-gauge combat shotgun. M1911A auto pistol. CoverGirl was a dashing model in Chicago and New York prior to enlistment. She grew disillusioned with the shallow world of modeling and joined the military to take her life in a more meaningful direction. Now instead of being swayed itself, she is covered in grease and couldn't be happier. She is proficient in Lieutenant Lady Jaye's files. Scarlet and I may make one of the best teams as co-leaders, but CoverGirl's still my best friend. I just don't understand her rivalry with Scarlet. It's like the two of them are both trying to prove that they're one of the boys. I'm not one of the boys, but I like my two female cohorts can sure dish it out as much as the guys can. On a side note, CoverGirl is a good listener, and I rely heavily on her counsel. People realize I'm more than just a pretty face when they bring in a busted-up vehicle, and I give it back to them running smoothly and ready for battle.
Yo, Joe! Code name. Lady J. Covert Operations Officer. Allison R. Hart Burnett. Grade 02, First Lieutenant U.S. Army. Birthplace. Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. Primary specialty. Counterintelligence. Secondary specialty. Personnel clerk, armor repair, qualified expert. M16, M19, 11A1. Spear, javelin, reflex, crossbow. Graduated Bryn Mawr and Trinity College. Intelligence School, Fort Hullabird. Airborne and Ranger qualified. Preferred weapon, spear or javelin. Combat gear, large ribbon with various heads. M1911A1. Lady J graduated from Bryn Mawr and did her graduate work at Trinity College in Dublin, where she acquired the faint Gaelic lilt that adorns her speech. An accomplished actress and mind, as well as a studied linguist, she could easily pass as a native in France, Italy, Poland, Russia, Germany, Afghanistan, Spain, and Portugal. Lady J doesn't go in for that phony Reagan rubber mask brand of disguise like those jokers on Mission Improbable. She becomes the subject, body language, subtle gesture, correct shading of dialect. The right look in the eye, cloaked and sandal, she can squat down with a basket of oranges in any Middle Eastern marketplace and blend in perfectly. She has maintained a relationship with Flynn, the Joe team's captain, although her professionalism and Flynn's attitude have made for some occasional rough edges in their relationship. She prefers to be in the middle of the action, where her quick thinking and left hook can both be put to good use. When she's not on missions or analyzing intercepted communications and aerial photos to spot covert activity, she relaxes by repairing the weapons on tanks and fighting vehicles with her best friend CoverGirl. She is qualified in electronic and mechanical repair and keeps the mechanisms in battle-ready condition. Her favorite part is testing the equipment once she's repaired it, using live ammunition fired at confiscated Cobra vehicles from General Hawk's files. Because of the nature of her specialty, that of covert operations, Lady J doesn't always work well within a team environment unless she's in charge. She is, however, a consummate professional. She is the best at what she does on those rare occasions during off hours when she does let her guard down. She is a remarkably friendly and pleasant person. Covert ops are all about attention to detail. I find the one little detail that Cobra overlooked and use it to blow their whole operation wide open.
Texas man with my 6-shooter H-man. I soar above the country wide and free. The G.I. Joe helicopter pilot, that's me. Flying high with the Joes by my side, keeping them safe on every ride. I'm Wild Bill, bus driver.
Takes live is Joe Takes. Greetings, I'm Christopher Logan Hill, G.I. Joe Gamer, and our first Joe Takes live is Joe Takes 24. Taking a look at CoverGirl, and tonight I'm joined by Mar Hockman. Welcome, sir.
Good evening.
We're going to start out by taking a look at CoverGirl, the vintage figure. Now, this is not a completed CoverGirl, but it's the one I have left. My CoverGirl's chest cracked all apart, and the back piece, the screw part, broke when I went to repair it. So I did the best I could and put a Wild Bill, extra Wild Bill chest I had on her.
It looks a lot like the cover in that comic book behind you.
Yeah, it kind of does. That comic book actually came in a 3-pack with Spirit, a Serpentor clone that only had the Hannibal DNA, and this cover girl right here. I thought this was the best one they ever put out. Now, they did put out 2 other cover girls, but those were both modern style. One was for the Rise of Cobra movie. It was blonde, like the gal in the movie. And then they did another one for the Collectors Club, but I prefer this one, actually, and I don't have that one. So I do have the Rise of Cobra figure, but I didn't really feel the need to check that out tonight. But I do have the box for the classified cover girl, and I actually like this. She's number 59 in the series. And some of these boxes are okay. I do like the fact that they show the figure on the back, and I do like the full artwork on the front, but I do prefer the windowless packaging so you can see the figure before you buy it. I buy most of them online anyway, so it really doesn't matter. When it gets here, it gets here. But that takes us to classified cover girl, and I like the fact that she came with a shotgun. She does come with a pistol and a wrench that she uses to repair her Wolverine, which they didn't have her come with. I don't actually have the Wolverine from the vintage. That was one of the few vehicles I really never did acquire. It's a cool vehicle, though, and I do want to acquire it eventually. But this figure here came with a pistol that really doesn't, if I get her on the screen, that really doesn't fit the character that much or the figure. But I think the shotgun does. What do you think, Mar?
I mean, it certainly looks like a more imposing weapon than the pistol.
Sure does. And we're talking about somebody who normally drives around a tank that fires 12 missiles. Now, in the comic series, she really didn't appear a lot in the old Marvel comics. She appeared in like issue 16, I believe. But they don't have any cover appearances of her. But I did pick up that comic 3-pack I was talking about with this book. Now, this book was pretty cool. Has a storyline where Spirit and Cover Girl are sent in by Flint to investigate this orphanage that is full of all these Serpentor clones, each with only one of the DNA patterns of the history's conquerors. And they had Snake Eyes join them, too, on that one. It was pretty cool. Now, I'm not big on the Image series, but that one was decent. Now, as far as the Marvel series is concerned, CoverGirl was there periodically throughout the series, and she was actually in a lot more special missions than she was the regular series. But she wasn't a very prominent figure or character in the comic series. Now, in the Sunbow cartoon, though, she was featured in quite a few episodes, including Pyramid of Darkness, where she was in that, but I have a theory about Pyramid of Darkness that she was actually Sable in disguise when Shipwreck, that singer, rented that singer. That was pretty cool. She was there when they needed her, and it just a lot of things added up to her being Cover Girl. And then they had Sable, Superstar Sable, in the second season, and she was a totally different animation, and she didn't even have the same color hair or the same voice. So, but she had Cover Girl's voice in Pyramid of Darkness. Now, the 3 episodes I watched for to get ready for this was Lights, Camera, Cobra, where Cover Girl was kind of the leader through the whole episode, and they used her. They didn't use her Wolverine at all in that. They used the makeup, her makeup ability, to disguise Recondo as Torch and make Cobra Commander believe that that they were gonna crush Torch with some torture devices. They were on a movie set, and so it was that's a fun episode. Then I watched Spell of the Siren, where I thought she had a bigger part in that than she did, but that's where Baroness took over and Cobra with the conch shell, the spell of the Siren's conch shell, Did you ever see that, Mar Hockman?
Nope.
No, so you didn't watch a lot of the G.I. Joe cartoons?
No, I mean it's one of those things where I would occasionally see 1 or 2 episodes, but that was like 30 years ago.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I,
watched
I saw the movie that they made a while back, and that's like the only thing I've seen in the last 15 years.
Yeah, that was the last one Sunbow did. It was pretty decent. A lot of people don't like it. I didn't have that big of an issue with it. And the other episode I watched was Cold Slither, where Cobra decided to turn the Dreadnoks into a rock band. And that episode started with CoverGirl and pretty much ended with her. So that's a decent one with CoverGirl. And on that note, I don't really have a lot more to say about CoverGirl. That's kind of sad, but I do have her file card and stuff. I do like CoverGirl a lot, and where she is as a member of the G.I. Joe team in the comics. She's just a regular agent, a G.I. Joe agent. And same with the cartoon, really. She was just there. Sometimes she would be the leader. Another episode that she led him in was 20 Questions, where they went after Shipwreck. When he took the reporters off to show them that Cobra was real. That was a good episode, too. But in my headcanon, CoverGirl actually moved on and became a warrant officer and a military intelligence agent because she could do both. She could drive a tank and go do undercover ops, and she was doing that a lot in the comic book too. So that was kind of cool. But on that note, do you have anything to add, sir?
Not really. It's just.
This is actually my first go round at doing this live. I normally just make my Joe takes and talk about them, but I was kind of lacking on materials for CoverGirl because I don't have any carded figures. I normally show off a bunch of carded figures. Well, I was gonna show off what I've got on my desktop tonight. I do have a couple of these little mini Jeeps. We got the Stinger and the Vamp. Now, these did come with, the Vamp came with a Duke figure, and this came with a Cobra Commander, but those little metal figurines are pretty cool. You can use them as miniatures, but they're a little oversized. But I do have some artwork and some other stuff that I'm going to...
One of the things that I remember about it, which, okay, part of it was from the movie, and part of it was from me seeing it as a kid, was that they have a whole lot of different. I guess one of the things about it is that it's a cartoon that was designed to sell toys, so they have a whole bunch of characters that you could buy toys of. And I guess there are different ideas, and so some people will like one of the characters more than the others. And I don't even know.
This is why I like to give my take on individual characters instead of doing a lot. I did do a video one for G.I. Joe and one for Cobra, and then gave my top 10 favorites in each one. That was a lot of fun. But for CoverGirl, I like the character, but she's not one of my favorites. I see her as Lady Jaye's best friend, not Scarlet. It's kind of weird, but that's just how I feel about it. Anyway, really, on that note, I'm going to say Logan out and play her promo video I had out earlier this week. that's my take on CoverGirl. Next week we're looking at Lady Jaye for the 25th Joe Takes. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you later. Greetings. I'm Christopher Logan Hill, the G.I. Joe Gamer. Welcome to another edition of Joe Takes 25. Oh, I have forgot to do that. I didn't know it would do that. That's funny. Okay, sorry about that. Today we're looking at Lady Jaye from the Hill. Now, I have the vintage figure. Now, my only issue with my Lady Jaye figure is that she does not have thumbs on either of her hands. And her spear gun, the handle has deteriorated and broken away. But other than that, she is complete and intact. This is a pretty cool figure. I always did like Lady Jaye. It was definitely an interesting take on a female Joe. Wasn't over the top. It was just she was a soldier. That was it. Now they did come out with a second vintage figure for her, and well, technically, this came out 3 years after the actual initial run of G.I. Joe ended in 1994. This one came out in 1997 in a 3-pack, the Commando 3-pack with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, believe it or not. And I had forgotten to put the file card for this in my video at the end, but I will share it with you right before I play that video. So I do have it ready to go. And the difference in the two file cards, really, other than some of the wording, is that her rank is vastly different. On her original file card, she is E4, but on that file card, the second one, it was E7, making her a sergeant first class instead of a specialist or corporal. Now, that takes us to carded figures. I do have a couple of examples, but they're both really new. I have the Walmart exclusive retro version of Lady Jaye with that messed up 5-language file card, that oversized and still not enough information on as far as I'm concerned. But it was a decent enough figure. It wasn't one of the better ones they came out with, but it was still a good figure. And I have one in the package and one out. Now, the other card figure I have is the newest retro version. However, this one is in the 6-inch size, and I really like that in the classified series size. But it comes with her original accessories, with the exception of the knife and the spear gun holder, the javelin holder. This is a pretty good figure, but same file card. Just with, I don't see any difference really. I think it's even relatively about the same size. Not much difference. These oversized cards are kind of neat, and they look good on the wall, but other than that, not so much. Which takes us to the classified box art. Now, this is Joe Takes 25, and we coincidentally, not too coincidentally, I planned it when I realized that she was coming up in on Ladies Month this month. So I lined them up so that her episode would be number 25. She's number 25 in the classified series. Now, the box art is pretty decent, and I got a better view of it in the video at the end, but there she is. Pretty good, I thought. And then that takes us to the classified figure. Got her hidden back here behind the other two figures. Now, the one thing I didn't like about this particular figure, well, I did like it, but at the same time I didn't. I'd rather they had two different head sculpts, but if you could take a look in here, she's got a headpiece that goes over her on her head, and you can actually remove her hair and swap it out, but it just looks really bad. And I actually prefer the hat look, which is kind of cool. That when they brought up the retro line, all they have is her in her black hat, which is what she originally had. So if you take and you compare the vintage figure to the classified, they are very similar. They pretty much held true to Lady Jaye, even in the classified, but they also, you know, did a good job. On the retro one, the colors were closer to me, that, and the accessories were pretty much dead on. Only I don't think the accessories were as good as these. Plus, they came. This backpack is really cool. It comes with her camera instead of like with a harness over the shoulder. Her camera extends and folds up, and it just goes right back behind her. It's kind of cool. And then also it has storage for spearheads. It's got a mace head and another knife head, and I've got the other knife head on the end of the spear. Now I do have another javelin in there. I keep saying spear, but it's really javelin, and she does have her knife in her belt. But this is pretty cool. This actually comes out, if I can do it without pulling it out of her hand, but then she can actually use this and throw it like she does in the animated series. I don't believe I ever saw her do that in the comic book. It's possible, but I don't remember it ever happening. Anyway, this is a really decent figure. Thought she was pretty cool. And I was happy to get her at the same time I got Flint. Now, I generally don't talk about other characters in that respect. I didn't mention her in Flint's video, so I'm only mentioning Flint because they're a couple, and I will talk about that when I discuss my the way I see Lady Jaye, my headcanon. But for now, I'm going to take a look at the comic book. Larry Hama, just genius writer as far as I'm concerned. Her first appearance was actually in number 32 with these dreadnoughts on the cover. It's a really, really nice cover if you're into the dreadnoughts, and I kind of am. I like the dreadnoughts. Like Zartan more than that, though. Now, her first appearance was on the second to last page, and she comes in here with Ripcord. They both showed up together, and there was this exchange between her and Scarlet. Basically, she told Scarlet that they're here to replace them, and she was kind of snooty to Scarlet. Called Scarlet tawdry. It's kind of funny, but slide that back in there. Now, her next appearance was a big one. It was number 34, and I'm actually going to talk about this if they ever bring out an Ace in the classified, because this is really his book, or maybe Wild Weasel. Both of them, all three of them make an appearance on the cover. Now, Baroness is actually in the back of that Rattler with Wild Weasel throughout this whole issue. It's Wild Weasel and Baroness in the Rattler, and Ace and Lady Jaye in the Sky Striker. This is a really, really good dogfight issue, and it shows the respect between pilots even when things don't go your way. Now, I've shown this before, and I've probably shown a lot. There's a lot of first appearances in here. Not her first appearance, but it is a really good cover appearance. I think it was the best first cover, her first decent cover appearance, because on this one, she's in the back, and that's okay, but it's really an Ace cover and a Wild Weasel cover. A Wild Weasel, not so much either. But this one was a lot better, and my favorite character appears in here, but I'll save talking about that for his. And then I really like this cover with Lady Jaye, with her side by side with Destro and Flint. This is an awesome cover. I always really like this. When I got this at the comic book store on my subscription, I picked this up and I went, oh man, I know this is going to be good. And it's a really good issue. It actually helped Destro take back his castle from an imposter Destro that turned out to be Major Blood. It was really cool. Now, in the cartoon, Flint and Lady Jaye were kind of a couple, pretty much from Pyramid of Darkness on. But in the comics, it actually took a while. Issue 67, basically Flint said something not so nice to Scarlet and Snake Eyes. And so Lady Jaye socked him, and then she realized that she was in love with him, and so did Flint. And after that, they were a couple. It was kind of cool. But I just love this cover where she just full on knocks Flint down. It was pretty cool. Now, a lot of people say there's no precedence really for Lady Jaye to just start a fight with another girl, but she pretty much did right on her first appearance. So when this happened, it didn't surprise me as much as a lot of other people. But her and Zarana go at it and all. Joe's in Cobras. This was after the Cobra Civil War. We're just standing around watching them fight. It was pretty cool. It's good issue. This one right here. Now later on, there are a few other appearances with Lady Jaye on the cover, but they're not very good, and she's usually in the background. This one, she's right there again behind Destro, right next to Flint, and it's got Snake Eyes behind her, which I thought was awesome. And Baroness too. I mean, this group of 5 here, that's pretty awesome. I always thought this cover was really cool, especially with Destro right there in the middle. But very good cover. Now, I found a couple of others that aren't as great. I do have my favorite one over there that I'm going to talk about last, but this one was pretty good. She was kind of front and center. This is just before they went into the saga where it was pretty much G.I. Joe starring Snake Eyes and Ninja Force for quite a while. I mean, the very next issue, it didn't say that, but it pretty much was a Snake Eyes storyline. Now, the very last issue, she's also on the cover, and she is right here next to Flint again, but right there with Hawk and the Stalker when they closed up the pit, Snake Eyes and Scarlet. This is a really good cover, and if I remember right, nope, I thought it was a wraparound cover. It should have been. It really should have, because it was the final issue of the Marvel run. But I wanted to show off some of the covers that she was on because Lady Jaye was on a lot of covers. Well, this was my favorite. Hawk was injured, and Lady Jaye, even after he ordered her to, she would not leave his side. This was a really cool issue, and the cover is just, I love how the shot goes right through this rectangle up here with the character cover. Cover Commander was up there for a while, replacement Grunt. But I really thought this was just a dynamic cover, and the storyline that really, that's not really the face of Lady Jaye as far as I'm concerned, but it's still a really good cover. You can tell that it's Lady Jaye, but Hawk looks just so messed up here. They don't show any blood or anything, but you know that Hawk is injured, and you know that Lady Jaye wasn't going anywhere, man. Great cover, great issue. Now that takes us to the cartoons. Now I did try to watch 3. I ended up only watching 2. I watched Where the Reptiles Roam and Skeletons in the Closet. I started watching G.I. Joe the Golden Fleece, but I fell asleep. It was late at night, and that's okay. She wasn't really in that one that much. But in Where the Reptiles Roam, she and Wild Bill led a team to a Texas dude ranch where Cobra was trying to take over a satellite so they could blast the targets on the Earth with laser beams from solar power. That was an interesting episode, and she called when the Baroness was in disguise as Mary Bell. She called her Jezebel, is more like it. I thought that was pretty funny. But I really love Skeletons in the Closet. That's got to be the best way to say it is her best episode. She just shined in that episode, or she found out that she basically inherited a castle, and as it turns out, she was related to Destro, and the Baroness had set this whole thing up just to get back at Destro. But Lady Jaye showed up at the castle, and there was a couple servants there that were trying to scare her off. She's a Joe, and she ended up going down to the basement at some point after they tried to scare her with holographic ghosts and all this weird stuff. But in the basement, Destro and his relations were down there having some kind of weird seance, and there was some kind of monster in this well. And so they were going to sacrifice Lady Jaye, but Flint showed up in disguise and rescued her. And they took off and were being chased by the cultists. And they were out in this room, and there was a giant spider. And Flynn asked, "You want to take the door or the spiders?" And she was just like, "Are you kidding me?" And she just turned around to take the door, and Flynn's like, "Yeah, it figures." And he took an axe and went towards the spider. But it was a great episode. Then the Joe showed up and Cobra showed up, and they had this big battle, and the castle got destroyed. Definitely a different take on the whole G.I. Joe animated show. It was nice to have a leak between Lady Jaye and Destro, and I don't know if Larry Hama ever did that, but in my head canon, that's a thing. They're related, and I enjoy that. Now, as far as how I see Lady Jaye in the story, I consider her a Sergeant First Class E7, just like her file card says. Now, in the movies, they made her a captain. I don't necessarily agree with that. She started out as a lieutenant, I think, and then she got promoted to captain, if I remember right. But not my choice. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think that she would want that. She was content where she was. Otherwise, she would have been an officer already. She didn't need to be an officer. She was a non-commissioned officer, so she had a position of authority, but she didn't have all the responsibility that an officer has as well. I see her as she's a covered operations specialist, and I see her when team needs covered ops specialist, she goes in with them, but also she'll replace other team members when they're not available or whatever. That's kind of how I see things with Lady Jaye. So I like Lady Jaye. She's really cool. She's not in my top 10, but not a lot of Joes are. I mean, there's well over 100 Joes, so almost 150, closer to 200, I think, maybe even. And she's definitely in my top 20, if I remember correctly. But I enjoy her in the cartoon. I enjoy Lady Jaye's character in the comics. She had a lot of cool cover appearances, a lot of cool storylines. And her and Flynn is a couple of both. I think most of us agree that her and Flynn are a couple. And in my head canon, they actually have been married for a while. And they have a daughter named Marissa, like they did the Transformers. Well, they didn't come out and say it, but they have Marissa Fairborn in that, and Flint's last name is Fairborn. And when her father showed up in an episode of Transformers, she called him Dad, and her dad came over, and he had Flint's voice. So it was like, come on, and it looked like Flint, only older. So it was pretty cool, and I agree with that. I think Marissa Fairborn is Flint and Lady Jaye's daughter, and that's how I see that. Okay, well, that's pretty much my take on Lady Jaye. Next week we're going to continue Ladies Month, and we're going to do something a little different because we're taking a look at Akiko from the Snake Eyes Origins movie, and so I'm going to be taking kind of a look at all the figures from that movie, and at the movie a little bit itself, and I might even make a tribute video. We'll see how that works out. Tonight I'm gonna go take some pictures and stuff, and then put out a video, and we'll see how that works out. So with that all being said, I'm gonna play the on Joe Takes 23 25, sorry, on Joe Takes 25 video, and we'll see you next time. So Logan out. Greetings. I'm Christopher Logan Hill, the G.I. Joe Gamer. Tonight, we're going to do something a little different here on Joe Takes 26. We're going to take a look at, we're going to take a look at a character. Since this is Ladies Both, it's a female character. But in order to look at this particular character, we have to look at a movie that a lot of people don't really care about, seeing how that's the only source of information we have for her, other than her figure, which they only brought one out. And so the movie I'm referring to, of course, is the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins movie. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this movie. Most people just straight up seem to not like it and have a beat on for it. Personally, I went to see it in the theater. I didn't hate it right away. There were parts of it I really enjoyed. It was definitely an entertaining movie. Question is, was it a Snake Eyes Origins movie? And I have to say no. If anything, it was more of a Storm Shadow movie than a Snake Eyes movie. And on that note, I'd have to also say that it wasn't really G.I. Joe. It could be a G.I. Joe story, but it wasn't. It was a take on some characters that most people didn't care for. Now, it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a great movie. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It was definitely fun to watch. I bought it on DVD when it came out because I collect G.I. Joe. But we'll start with looking at the figures. Then we'll take a look at my promo video that I made for it, and then we'll talk about it. And I'm talking about Akiko in the last bit here, because she's really the focus of this video. So I wanted to get that other stuff out of the way. So we'll start. Back of these boxes for all 5 of these movie figures had this picture of Snake Eyes on it. Now, Snake Eyes was number 16 in the series for this version of Snake Eyes. This is the only time I'm going to look at these figures, and that's because they're not some of my favorites. But I wanted to do a ladies month, and I needed another lady for this month, seeing how I only have 4. Well, I have 2 others, but they have other figures, and we'll see if we're going to look at those. I did look at those in their videos, so we'll take a look at this here. Well, Snake Eyes came with a head based off of the actor who played him in the movie. So I swapped them out, and I put the Snake Eyes head in here because, to me, this is somebody who has the code name of Snake Eyes, but is not Snake Eyes. So anyway, there's the side of the box art there. Wow, it's not bad art. In fact, I don't hate it. Storm Shadow was number 17 in the series. I'm just gonna look at all the boxes first here. And again, the art's not bad. Some people call this the Milquetoast Storm Shadow. And I see why. When we look at the figure, you'll see he's wearing an off-white uniform or gi. And he also had the Storm Shadow head in the actor head sculpt, which, again, this isn't my Storm Shadow. This is the representation for the movie. So I'm going to be leaving the actor heads on them. Number 19 in the series was the Baroness. These boxes are really good, and the likenesses to the actors were decent. They weren't bad. And this is number 19. And again, the back, but we don't have to keep looking at those. And there was number 20. And I'm purposely saving Akiko for the end of the video. So we're just looking at these first to get this out of the way. Definitely looked a lot like the actress. So in that respect, they did a good job. And I like to collect those 0 numbers. So for the Snake Eyes figure, this is what we got, which is kind of weird because he wasn't in his uniform until like the last 5 minutes of the movie, if that, maybe even less than 5 minutes. Came with these 2 two knuckle knives, and he came with the Morning Light, which was nice, a nice touch, because that's the sword that the movie Storm Shadow gave him. And so it's another Snake Eyes, but it's not, to me, it's not the Snake Eyes. And same with Storm Shadow, not the Storm Shadow, a Storm Shadow. And again, most this, as you can see, he kind of looks like milk from a bowl of cereal after you've had cereal in it. So I guess that's why they call him the Milk Toast Storm Shadow. Off white there, not a bad figure, not a great figure. I think they should reuse the mold and maybe change some of the things out. I don't know. And you had the Baroness, which I like this figure, but I also don't like the neck. It's way too large, and they tried to cover it up with something, a choker around her neck or something. She came with a really cool machine gun that the silencer does come off. So that's the actual machine gun, and then it has the suppressor. I know, silencer, suppressor. The magazine comes out, and then she's got two blades, which slide right into the back there. Like I said, I'm not really going to focus on her all that much, or the other characters. Her glasses came off, which was a nice feature, and I actually did try them on the other ladies, and they not bad on the Scarlet, but not good at all on the Akiko figure. And so there, another last look at the Baroness. Baroness is one of my favorite characters for Cobra, so I don't ever mind getting a chance to look at any Baroness figure. Now, then of course we have Scarlet, and she came with the same crossbow the other Scarlet did, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. No, that's definitely a different one. So that's cool. Came with her little quiver here for her bolts, for her crossbow. I do like the way they did the ponytail. Very nice. The head sculpt is decent. So we're talking about a figure that wasn't bad. The application, the figures weren't the problem, I don't think. I really don't. I really think that the problem was the fact that this movie hit at a bad time, for one, and for another, a lot of people didn't receive it very well because it wasn't the movie they were wanting. And ironically enough, I went into the theater thinking this isn't going to be the movie I want, so I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And that was a good attitude to have because it definitely wasn't the movie I wanted, for sure. Now, like I said, I'm going to watch the my promo video on Joe Takes 26 for it before I get into it. So let's start this. I did watch this earlier on Fridays for the Hill, but mostly let it out.
Sleep at night, you must run alright. This behind this all be right when all we do, when all we do is fight. For a moment, a piece of in the streets, relief from all the grief, release when bullets cease. Hold on, it's another one I could be putting up in the gutter. Hold on, it's another one taken away from his wife and his mother. He's strong. It's a never-ending road. We always seem to go down. It's inevitable to be broken down to the ground, but I get up, stand up. Every time I take a beat, sit up, man up. Every time my heart is beating, I've been taking for granted many more times than I could ever get to admit. But then again, it's all my fault. The captain must go down with the ship, 'cause I've been drinking too many nights and I've been smoking too many whites. And although I know it's time, I shouldn't be losing all these fights to my inner demons screaming up in my head. It's a never-ending cycle, then my better up dead. Oh no, so I just keep on living and sinning. Come hella high water, I can always swim. How can this be? How can this be my life? I can't sleep at night. You must drive out right. Why? How can this be? How can this all be right when all we do, when all we do this fight. For a life, for a right to be. Tonight's the night, and that's on me. Have you ever had it so bad it's hard to breathe? Cause that's my everyday, dog, and that's for cheese. I shed blood, sweat, and tears to get my cheese. I'm a go-getter, with nothing but dreams that my kids will grow up to be as strong as me, and not have to see what I've had to see. Tell me, how can this be my life when I'm stranded all alone and someone's holding my wife? The pain is more than I can bear. It's just not right for something you hold sacred to just take flight. So at the end of this tunnel, they best be light, cause I'm running out of rope in this game of life. I take my chances, dog, and roll the dice and be the man who made the maze for you trifling mice. Saying, oh, can this be how this be my life? I can't sleep at night, through my strife I write. Why? How can this be right? This all be right when all we do, when all we do is fight. How can this be right? This be my life, I can't sleep at night, through my strife I write. Why?
Like I said, they made the figures look a lot like the movie characters. So I don't believe that the figures were the problem, even though the figures didn't sell very well. So we'll take a look at Akiko, and then we'll talk about her a bit. She was number 18. So they covered number 16 through 20 for the movie. And there's the box art, which I really, really love, which I had in that video there. Of course, she's 18. And she came with these two, like, swords, but they're not really swords. They're part of her staff that breaks it in two, so she could use to make her staff two different weapons. But I just used the staff example. As you can see, it's the same weapon, just she pulls it apart. And I wish they would have just made it so you could pull it apart like that. But they didn't. They missed that opportunity. They just gave you the weapon broken down into two parts instead of all in one piece like this. It's a really nice staff. So that's what we got here. I did like the way they did her hair in the back, all up in a nice bun, and then the bangs in the front there, hanging down there on either side. Let me back it up. Maybe that looks a little better. And this one actually is not part of it's actually, it comes up, and so does this one, which was, I thought, was a nice touch for a figure. They made the Blue Ninja out of this figure too, so it's not a bad sculpt for a figure. And as far as I'm concerned, in the movie, she was the head of the Arashikage security, so she was definitely a member of the Ninja Clan. But she was an outsider, and they made a big point of that in the movie. I don't know why. And like I said, a lot of people just hate on that movie. And it, by itself, if you watch it not thinking of it as a Snake Eyes origin movie, it's not a bad movie. It has a pretty decent story to it. My major problem was with the Snake Eyes character himself. He wasn't Snake Eyes. He went into it with false pretenses, which wasn't how Snake Eyes was in the comics for that Larry Hama wrote. And then he betrayed the Arashikage clan, and then betrayed the people who hired him in the first place. Definitely wasn't the version of Snake Eyes that I grew up with. Like I said, not a bad movie, just wasn't Snake Eyes for me. Now, the highlight of the movie was the fact that they had Larry Hama in it. In one of the scenes, they had this alley in Tokyo, and Larry Hama just walked up the alley silently and then walked off frame. And it was a nice tribute to the author of the comic book. But that was, to me, that was the highlight of the movie. And that's kind of sad. If the only highlight of the movie is that the author of the comic book series got to make an appearance in it. So, but again, Akiko, to me, was the bright spot of that movie, because she's a really good character. And I hope that she gets incorporated into either Larry Hama's regular comic series or into another storyline, because I thought her character was very interesting. I know that she fell in love with the Snake Eyes character in the movie. They didn't go out and say that, but she sacrificed almost everything for him in the end. And it was like, why would she do that if she hadn't fallen for him? Definitely a neat character. I knew this was going to be kind of a different video because I don't have any vintage figures to show off or packaged figures or carded figures or anything like that. Just these movie figures, which, like I said, I probably am not going to make another video about them. So I wanted to cover them all in one shot, in one go. And so that's Akiko, and that's my take on Akiko. And as far as in my headcanon, if I were to put her in a storyline, she would definitely still be the head of security for the Arashikage clan, and maybe after the clan fell, she may have actually joined G.I. Joe and maybe been a mentor to like Jinx or something. So that's about what I've got for you on this Joe Takes. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for everybody who showed up. Thanks for being here, Renee. I appreciate it. And participating in the chat. That was cool. Definitely glad you showed up. Like you, I'm a night owl, and I just don't function well in the daytime so much. I'm a lot better at night, but that's what I have for Akiko. And on that note, having said all that, Logan out. Thank you for being here. Good night.
Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I'll fight these lights I ride to help me through the night. Land of illusion, losing my fuse, confused by confusion, causing contusions, tossing issues and losers. True to the rules, never choose the future. Who's gonna be the next to try? Thinking that you're gonna cut me down to size. Looking when you gotta look into mine. Bye-bye. You ain't even with another line to write. Evacuate my sight. I hold the flame that melts the chain. Oh no, let's take my name. Now flow. Dream begins to rain. I let it look into the hearts and minds of those from the world that want to steal your life. With their lies, break your pride, making you a victim for the dim side. Welcome to the game. It's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night. Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night.
I swap away my pains. If I never make a move, then the game will never change. It's time to hit the road. From city to city we go. We ready to put on a show and spread our message across the globe. As freedom and liberty slowly erode, as tyranny started to grow. You can stand up and face it or lie down and take it, but make it your duty to know. Never forget we're the ones in control. Can take what they offer, but me, I'm on my eyes on my process, my sights, on my goals. It's time that we rise and take over the throne.
Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night. Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night. To help me through the night. To help me through the night. It's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Greetings. I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe gamer, and on this episode of Joe Takes 27, we're going to be taking a look at Zarana from the Hilt. And this will be our last installment of Ladies Month. We've had Cover Girl, Lady Jaye, and Akiko last 3 weeks. And tonight we're going to wrap it up with Zarana. I'm going to do things a little different tonight. Normally I look at the figure first, but I've only got the 2 figures of Zarana to look at tonight. So we're going to start with her classified box art because it's pretty cool. She's number 48 in the series. And then I really enjoy this box art. I had it on the thumbnail, and also it's going to be in the video at the end. Really, really, really good box art, I thought. Now let's take a look at like I said, I only have 2 of the figures. They made one in the vintage line. They made a few in the early 2000s that were all O-ring. And then they made 2 in the modern line, the 25th anniversary line. But then they made one for the classified now. So I have the vintage figure, and I have the classified. So I have bookends, basically, of the Zarana figures. Now, full disclosure, this isn't my original Zarana figure. I actually had to order her about 3 years ago. My original Zarana figure, I loaned to a friend to help kind of babysit their kid, and I never got it back. So I ended up having to get a new Zarana. Now, I like this figure. Not really hip on the face sculpt for her or her hair, but it was, kind of like Spirit and a couple of the other Joes like that had the really soft plastic for hair. And I love her biker outfit and the pink and everything. It just really fits Zarana. And she had this really cool, I'm not really sure what kind of gun it is with the blade on the end. Then she had this backpack that inspired the classified figure to do something a little more. And I will take a look at that one next. I'm gonna do a side by side comparison here in a second. But oh, wait a minute. What's going on here? Oh, I forgot to take that off. What's that doing there? No, I had her up here next to Gung Ho, and I was being naughty, and I made a picture, and so I'll put it up here real quick for you to see. Yeah. Just tell me I'm wrong, but it just seemed to work out really good when I posed it like that. But anyway, I was being naughty. But no, this version of Zarana is really cool. Like I said, it really paid a really good homage to the original Zarana figure, and looks really good. It's got the knife on her side like the original does, and both on the right hand side, and then they had the rip on the pants was only on one side of the original, and they kind of did a little bit on both legs for this one. And the knee pads, they kept those, and the boots with the little spurs, very cool, very, very cool. And then they held true to the weapon too. Only they made it so it's a gun and a little buzzsaw thing, and each one has its own little trigger, which I thought was neat. So yeah, they did a good job. Now the thing that I didn't like about this figure, but I'll get to that in a second. And it's got nothing to do with the way the figure looks, that's for sure. Because there's the problem with the arm that it pops off really easy, and when you pose it, if you're not careful with it, it just comes right off. But the backpacks is what I was going to talk about real quick. See the backpacks. This one right here had this little just thing coming up, and you can't really see on this backpack what that is. And I think it inspired them to go ahead and do this with the backpack, where this is actually a knife that comes out, and it's like a hot knife. It heats it up so it can cut just through just about anything. I thought that was really a neat and very nice touch for this figure. Again, like I said, she has these 2 different hair pieces, and they did the same thing with Lady Jaye, and I didn't like that on Lady Jaye either. It's kind of nice, and naturally I had to drop it, so I have to breeze down and get it entering this, which of course is normal for a Joe take. So let's pop this on her head here, and this actually makes her look more like the original Zarana. Uh, I still like the head sculpt way better on the new one. Of course, they have it's bigger. They have better technology. But like I said, they kind of held true to the original Mohawk, sort of Mohawk hairdo that she had. But I really prefer the newer hairstyle they gave her because it kind of made her look like she was in the comics and the cartoon. She was kind of all over the place in the comics, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now, this figure sculpt is really good. Like I said, aside from the minor issues with the swapping out the hair pieces, I wish it had just done separate heads. I mean, they've done that with so many other figures. I don't know why that was such a big deal that they can't just include a separate head with the character. They did that with two of the movie figures, so it can be done. Now, put this hat back on and go home. Well, I didn't get a chance to watch any of the Sunbow cartoons or any of the Deke series because she was in the first Deke series where it was Operation Dragonfire, and she kind of was in that just long enough to date Destro, and then the Baroness was like, "You're dumping me for Zarana." It was pretty funny, but then he dumped Zarana in a pit. And she was all laying on a bed eating grapes, and the Destro just pushed a button, and she fell into a pit when he was going to go back to the Baroness. And Baroness just forgave him. It was like, "Yeah, right." That was very unlike the Baroness to just forgive Destro for something like that. But it was the Deke series, so whatever. Now, I'm pretty sure that's about all she was in that was as Destro's little side piece. But in the Sunbow cartoon, she came on the second season with the Arise Serpento Arise, a 5-part miniseries, and she had quite a few roles in that, where she was at the beginning, where Sergeant Slaughter, Lowlight, and Beachhead went to run them down. I think it was Beachhead. And run down the Dreadnoks and get some information from them. And she was there, and she burned their letter from Dr. Mindbender. It was kind of cool. There was the Computer Complications episode where she infiltrated Joe headquarters as Sergeant Kara Weaver, or Weebler, or whatever her name was. And she ended up falling for Mainframe, and he fell for her. And it was kind of a little storyline that they continued later on another episode, Gray Hairs and Growing Pains, which I liked. That was a good episode too, where they were taking celebrity figures and and basically taking their youth from them and giving it to other people. And there was a part of that where they shrank down 3 Joes to little kids and 3 Joes to old men, and they had Lady Jaye as a young a little kid and Flint as an adult. And then when they put them back to the right size, Lady Jaye was all like, "Flint, I need some help," because all she was wearing was a top. And so that was kind of funny. But yeah, Zarana was in that, and she helped Mainframe figure out how to turn the Joes back to normal. And that was the way they kind of continued that storyline. But I think the best episode with Zarana was Glamour Girls, where she got hypnotized by the Dreadnoks, and she ended up going to the island where CoverGirl Lady Jaye had been captured, and were hypnotized as well, and we're gonna basically be taken by the Madam of the island, who owned the island, and had this formula that could make people young again. So that was kind of a same theme type as Gray Hairs and Growing Pains. But in this, Zartan got mad because Dr. Mindbender thought it was humorous that the Dreadnoks hypnotized Zarana and sent her to the island. And so Zartan went and rescued his sister by letting the Joes out. It was kind of cool. Uh, and he knocked out this Viper. He came up and he goes, "Okay, you're relieved." And the Viper, he was dressed as another Viper, and the Viper's all, "What do you mean? I need orders from Cobra Commander in triplicate." And he just knocks him out. And the Joes are all laughing, going, "Oh, so much for team spirit." And then he takes off his helmet and his Zartan. That was kind of cool. But then Zarana, they almost put her in they were going to put her in this machine. Ended up not being her. Ended up being some other gal, Lowlight's sister, actually, and that was the one with Superstar Satin. That was Lowlight's sister's friend, and it was definitely not the Satin that was in Pyramid of Darkness, but it was supposed to be the same character. Um. Anyway, the machine ended up actually removing the madam's face. It was instead of making her young again because they stopped it before it stole Lowlight's sister's face. And they inadvertently rescued Zarana, who ended up escaping. And of course, then he gets Zarana prisoner. But in the comic books, she showed up a little early on in 51. I'm pretty sure was the issue where she first appeared, and or at the end of 50. I think it was 51 though. And she had her brother and sister brothers decided that they were going to go back and get some more rescue Buzzer, who had been captured by the Joes. He'd already left. It was kind of weird, but Zartan had just been there. I can't remember the reason why they went back in that one, but they ended up having this big old thing where Zarana snuck into Joe headquarters with Xandar, and I'm pretty sure Zartan in a swamp fire. But they put G.I. Joe decals on it, and they thought that would be okay. Anyway, it kind of worked. But my favorite storyline with Zarana was this like 2-part storyline with her and Wild Bill and Crazy Legs and Thrasher. And Maverick was another one that was in this. Maverick, Wild Bill, and Crazy Legs were getting on this plane in this country that was getting overrun by guerrilla forces, and a revolution was taking place. Happened a lot in the G.I. Joe storyline. And in this particular storyline, they ended up working with the Joes to escape, even though they basically showed up and hijacked Wild Bill's plane. And Thrasher got his arm broken in that, and she hit him with a wrench and all sorts of stuff. She was not nice to her own Dreadnought, but it was a good storyline, and it was a good one for Crazy Legs and Maverick, not to mention Wild Bill, who was in charge, which I thought was interesting, seeing how Maverick outranked him technically. But Wild Bill definitely had seniority. Wild Bill had a tendency to, even in the comics, lead missions sometimes. I guess it was his ship, his plane, and he was in charge. I guess that's the way it worked. But Zarana's a neat character. I like how when Zartan's not around, she just takes over the Dreadnoks. There's no questions asked. She just does it. The Dreadnoks don't even question it. They just follow Zarana probably because they're afraid she's going to kick their butt. But I do like Zarana. She's a neat character. I do like this classified take on her, especially the new hairpiece that they gave her. I mean, like I said, I'd rather it be on a new head sculpt, but that's just how it is. But they did a good job, and her knife actually comes out of the sheath here, which it didn't on the original, of course. But the classified, they like to add little additions like that, and I appreciate that. Now, as far as for me and my storyline, for Zarana, I like Zarana. She's a cool character, and she's like second in command of the Dreadnoks. That's just the way I see it. And I never had Zartan break away from the Dreadnoks like he did in the comics. I always just had the Dreadnoks being they're his group, his motorcycle crew, and when he was away, Zarana was the vice president. That's just how it is. The motorcycle club. Zartan was president. She was the vice president. And now, if I'm looking at it correctly, and this is my opinion, because Xandar was kind of ousted through the whole thing. I don't know why. And in some stories, Xandar and Zarana are twins, and other ones they're not. So it depends on where you look at it. I don't think it really matters whether they are or not. They're brother and sister. There's Zartan's younger siblings. That's all that really matters. But their sergeant of arms, I think, is actually Torch. But hey, Torch is my favorite Dreadnought. However, Torch is the one who would. Now, Buzzer is the smarter one, so he ended up leading him in the field and stuff. But Torch did a lot of other things. So that's my storyline. So in my storyline, Torch is the number 3, but whatever. Xandar would take charge sometimes. So, depending on your point of view, Xandar could be number 3, but Xandar liked to fade into the background. In the comics, he really liked to fade in the background, and you hardly noticed him. But in the cartoon, he didn't do that so much. He was definitely in third in command of the Dreadnoks in the cartoon. And that's my take on Zarana. I've got some artwork and some file cards for you to look at. I already checked out the. I already checked out that pic I took that was not so nice, and I wanted to play a little bit of my nephew's music here as I wrap up. This is Rise to Power by Jay Taro. I'm going to put a card up at the end. He also did the song at the beginning, Through the Night. I hope you enjoyed my take on Zarana. That all being said, Logan out. So let's play this. I just need to pause this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this back from full screen. Next month, we've got coming up Roadblock, Sergeant Slaughter, Snake Eyes, and Breaker with the Rams. So that should be a pretty cool Joe Takes Classics. And I'm going to stop the screen there, so it's just me now. Let's see. You said you had to tell Ray to make sure it didn't really happen. It was actually kind of funny. No, hey, dreams can knock you out for a while, especially when you're still half awake, Jess. And I'm glad you joined me, Jess. It's been a great experience. This Joe Takes Classics has been awesome. Sid, thanks for being here. And yeah, Roddy Piper and Sergeant Slaughter, I'm pretty sure were the only 2 wrestlers that became Joes. The other real life guy that was a Joe was the Refrigerator Perry. The Fridge, the football player from the Chicago Bears. And I think those are the only 3 that were real life people that became G.I. Joes. I could be wrong about that. I know they named people after them and they did likenesses of them and stuff like that. Hey, Victor, how you doing, buddy? It is really good to see you. Just wrapping up this Joe Takes Classics. I've got, I'm going to play Zarana's file card video for you, codename Zarana. And then I've got something a little different. I've got a song that I'm going to play for you. I don't have a video for it yet. I do want to do a play motion video for it, but it is an actual mission that the Joes go on, and it's an after action report given by Stalker. It's kind of cool. So Roddy Piper brings back childhood memories. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I liked him. He was pretty cool. He was also a pretty cool actor. He was in an episode of Highlander and a few other things that I remember. And They Live, man. John Carpenter's They Live. Great movie. Yeah. Everybody's saying hi. Bruce Willis and Dennis Quaid. I like both of those dudes too. Yeah. Yep, they were in the movies. They were General Hawk and then Bruce Willis was General Colton. It was pretty cool. So yeah, let me play her file card. I'll get my head straightened out, and then I'll come back and I'll prep that video for you. It's the Suno video, and it for some reason Suno has been weird lately. Maybe it's the heat, but it's not matching up with the words, and it skipped a lot. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this video? But it still plays the music for you. So here's from the Hilt, codename Zarana. This is her file card.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Cobra!
Cobra! Zarana, Drake leader, file name unknown, birthplace unknown, primary specialty intelligence, secondary specialty sabotage. Zarana is the sister of Darkhan and Xandar, a professional assassin. She is an expert in small arms, explosives, and edged weapons. Zarana is a master of disguise who can fool even the best military specialists. She relies on masks, wigs, makeup, and costumes. She is also a world-class method actress. Literally becoming object of her impersonation, to the extent that she not only sings but reacts as they would. She has short, naturally auburn hair, which has been dyed pink, sometimes red, and is usually depicted with a tattered hot pink t-shirt and blue pants. Her pink shirt resembles the torn scarf worn by her twin brother Xandar. She is the older of the twins and often the unequivocal leader of the two. She and Xandar speak between themselves in shared poetical language, echoing each other's words and ideas. I disguised myself as Zartan once and tried to fool the Dreadnought gang. They said I didn't smell right. I disguised myself as Zartan once and tried to fool the Dreadnought gang. They said I didn't smell right.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful.
We can skip the YouTube bits on that one. So I hope you enjoyed those. Like I said, I have the one more video that I'll play for you as we head out. We've got Hi There Reds behind me, thinking he's funny. We got Sandy Shark 32 in the house. Hello.
I'm funny.
Go
Give me
Joe.
20 years.
Nice to see you. It's good to see a new face in the chat. We appreciate you being here. Let me see. My niece just got cute French bulldog. Your favorite breed? That's cool. That's cool. The new puppers in the house. Victor saying hi, Red. Red's actually going to join us tomorrow night for our 50th episode of From Fighters from the Hills. So
Yes.
we
I
should have
something planned.
we should have quite the crowd tomorrow night. Should be lots of fun. All right. So like I said, I made this. I was trying to do something different. It's not really a song per se, but it's like an after action report given by Stalker in song form. So this is called Rules of Engagement, and I hope you enjoy it. And on that note, Logan out, and I'll just be in the chat saying good night to you guys.
Going out there, General Hawk gets the call. It's a team alpha situation.
barbecue, infantry and rescue, that's the infantry and desert trooper. Security team, Alpha 2 sergeant, slaughter squad leader, and drill instructor. Snake Eyes, Ninja Commando, Lady J Covert, Ops Specialist, Kamakura Infantry and Ninja. Support team, Alpha 3 Wild Bill Squad leader, and Dragonfly pilot. Airborne helicopter assault, Crazy Legs assault trooper, hit and run, light infantryman. Briefing. Have been sighted in Trucial Abysmia. It is suspected that they are taking hostages to cover the fact that they're working on a dirty bomb submitted by Flint. This calls for night ops insertion fast, tactical and efficient. Submitted by Duke. The possibility of a dirty bomb requires squad. Alpha 1-1 airtight and barbecue will be essential. Submitted by Beachhead. Scarlet is the OIC, but will remain on the Dragon Block for Overwatch once on the ground. Stalker will assume overall command and assess the situation. Alpha team's rules of engagement. Enter the facility, rescue hostages, neutralize hostiles, find evidence of dirty bomb and determine threat. Stalker will have oversight on execution and mission success or failure. Phase 1, Wild Bill dropped us off at the designated LC at 0300 on the dot. The man's a wizard. Remains a one-click run in under a minute. Watch your clown assess the theater of operation. I decided to go full tilt boogie in the front door. I had barbecue kicking the door. He launched that airtight and Dusty went in first to clear the room of crucial levels and the hostiles in less than 10 seconds. Those two are in the zone today. Awaiting next with Bazooka and barbecue bringing up the rear. I designated them as the unit cost for B&B. I swiftly assessed the situation, check my map and make a call. They sent us down a flight of stairs to where they held the hostages. We neutralized 4 tangos, which made it simple, one for each of us. A hostage immediately told us where the enemy was working on their bomb. To this point, so I ordered airtight to take point. As we might be dealing with a dirty bomb, I ordered B&B to secure the hostages and guard, while me and the rest of the team moved forward. Lady J satellite surveillance assessment was right on the money as we easily navigated our way across the complex. The Cobra Sand Scorpions were ready for us, but airtight rolled into the room without even a bio leave and took out 2 of the 6 tangos. Dusty, completely in sync with them, and took out 3 tangos in a blink, leaving the last one for me. But I wanted intel, so I disarmed him, busted his knee, and secured the prisoner airtight. Immediately assessed the bomb and determined it to be level 2 mob situation. Dusty and I gear matched up in seconds. Airtight neutralized the bomb with a different device, but that it also had a trigger device located elsewhere. Too proud that the call to take devices out from the air, since according to airtight we had the only trigger device, so there was no danger of them being detonated remotely. Double time back to the room and we're in and out in less than 10 minutes. Once in the air, airtight located the other 2 devices, triangulating their location using the trigger to fabricate the coordinates to Wild Bill, who effortlessly assessed the threats and determined they were being guarded by hostile covert forces after measured or scanned both buildings on approach. Wild Bill spruced bomb out with a single missile and had us back on board the flag and time. I gave my report to command with my assessment being sent from the successful mission at Yo Joe. Yo Joe. Yo Joe. You. Yo, Joe.
over. Go on home now.